What is up, my friends, and how's it going? And welcome back to the 20th episode of our Let's Play series as Roma with your fellow comrade, Summary. In the previous episode, we were in the midst of our civil war, and we managed to, with Octavius Caesar, defeat the armies of Mark Antony in Apollonia, thereby securing Macedonia as well as Achaia, and then pushing across the Aegean Sea to begin our conquest of Asia. Meanwhile, to the east, had two legions, Legio IV Scythica as well as Legio 15 Apollinaris, who pushed down from the Caucasus, conquering the region of Armenia, and have finally made their way down towards Syria. We are going to try our maximum best in order to secure all of our eastern provinces before the Parthians or the Nabateans manages to secure them for themselves from Antony's Rome. Meanwhile, in Africa, Proconsularis had Vipsanius Agrippa, and he was poised to take over Kyrene. However, the garrison of Kyrene, which is basically Legio III Kyreneke, have stayed firm in their settlement, making it a little bit difficult for us to assail the settlement, and that is why we have issued orders for Legio 12 Fulminata to kind of reinforce Marcus Agrippa. However, the objective of this episode would be to finally put an end to the civil war, and speaking of the end to the civil war, we are also trying to decrease our influence politically. At the start of the previous episode, we were at 96% influence, but now we are sitting at about 82%, and the idea is to get it down to about 65% by the time we are done our civil war, so that we can finally reform our government type into an empire. I can apply it straight away. However, as I explained in the previous episode, there are several reasons why I don't want to do that, and that is because we are in a civil war, we are having massive public order penalties, and furthermore, by initiating the reforming of the government type, I will get some loyalty penalties to my political parties, and even though my political parties are extremely loyal to me, once the civil war has completed, they will be even more loyal to me, which means I can pretty much easily select government reform without having to worry about anything. And besides that, of course, it is historical. And that being said and done, we are in the process of reducing our influence, as I said, and for that purpose, basically, we want to keep hiring other politicians, and since we have maximum level of academy in Roma itself, when we hire a politician, we get several benefits, and some of the benefits we can take straight away. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the gravitas. Empire maintenance is really good, so I don't really need that much. However, I guess I am kind of sort of forced to take it, so I'm just going to take those abilities. And of course, apart from that, I'm going to be sending as many characters as I possibly can on missions. And of course, I'm not going to show it because we have a lot to showcase in this episode. And yeah, and apart from that also, we have a lot of provinces that we kind of need to build up, since we are reconquering a lot of former Roman regions that were united under the Republic, but however splintered as a result of the Civil War. So, prioritizing the restructuring of our provinces is one of the major things that we'll need to do. However, of course, I am also, once again, not going to be showing that because, really need to focus on, completing our episodes as quickly as we possibly can. And of course, I'm not going to be showcasing that as well. However, once the Civil War is done, then it will be very easy to kind of explain how exactly I set up my provinces as a Roma. And and from then on, we'll take it on from there. However, let's move on without any further delay to Asia Minor, and we have a lot of our legions in the area. And they are pretty much poised to wipe out pretty much all of the Roman settlements over here, because we have defeated the major resistance of Antony's faction in Apollonia itself in the previous episode. So for now, it's just about going to be a race to the finish line rather. So we kind of have to try to conquer as quickly as we possibly can. Conquering in the Levant, meanwhile, will be a little bit of a challenge because even though we have Legio Scythica over here, we do have a final legion, Legio 21 Rapax, and of course, although it seems like they have taken a fair bit of casualties, I would not be too hasty in my offensive lest I find myself in a very unfavorable situation. So but now let's move Legio 15 Apollinaris and try to take Adessa, and do have another legion over there. It seems to be at about half strength, Legio 22 Primigenea, so of course we need to attack that as well. Meanwhile, let's go ahead, send our legions outwards. We can attack and conquer Pessinus, which would be the final settlement of Asia Minor, and that we have managed to secure all of our economic provinces, so that is fantastic, which means we can pretty much pretty much begin to make some positive income. As you can see, we have dropped a little bit below 10 million denarii in our treasury. We sit at about 8.5 million denarii, but that will change soon enough once I am able to breathe some life into the province of Asia, which taxation is turned off right now. When I turn it on, it gives me about 80,000 denarii per turn. However, I have to rebuild the province as well. I can go ahead and deploy my dignitary as well. That should kind of increase my income a fair bit. However, do have our faction leader Tavius in the Aegean Sea, so I'm going to push him closer towards central Galatia and Cappadocia. Meanwhile, Legio 8 Augusta can just go ahead, attack Italia, and it's a decent auto-resolve, so I'm going to go ahead and auto-resolve. There's going to be a lot of auto-resolving in this episode because we really don't have a lot of adversaries to fight, and these are all just minor battles that I really am not too keen on showcasing. I want to showcase battles that are a bit more interesting. However, that being said and done, we do have also Legio 5 Macedonica, and the way I want to push them would ideally... What I want to do is maybe send them up north. I mean, we have 3 settlements. If I look at it over here, let's pull up the tactical map real quick. So we have 3 settlements up here. We have 2 legions, which means in about 2 to 3 turns they can secure this. Meanwhile, we have 3 areas over here. Because keep in mind, I am trying for speed, so I think I should send them down south, because I have put Legio 8 Augusta in the port, because the idea is to conquer Salamis in the coming turns. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move Legio 5 Macedonica down south, and he will move on towards Iconium to attack that settlement and secure the province of Galatia at Cappadocia. And with that, I think I'm quite done for this turn, with the exception, of course, I need to hire Governor General. So let's go ahead and hire this guy, and we're going to put him up into the settlement of Pergamum. We are going to name him Proconsul of Asia, and that is because, as I discussed in the previous episode, even though Asia was a senatorial province, the governor in charge of Asia was a proconsul and not a properote. Finally, we have Legio 22 Valeria Victrix over here that had to reconquer Pharsalus, because I kind of forgot about an army that I left over here at the mouth of the Gulf of Corinth, and kind of backstabbed and took over Pharsalus. However, everything seems to be fine as far as our borders are concerned in the Hellenic mainland. And of course, finally moving all the way to the far west, somewhere around in Gallia, we're in the process of kind of restructuring our legions over here. We want to get as many legions as we possibly can, and of course we are in the process of recruiting back Legio 3 Kyrenaicae. Of course, they are actually still over here, but I am not really waiting to get my full strength legionaries. However, that being said and done, before I go ahead and end the turn, just want to make a very quick note that after the civil war is done, which I'm hoping will happen within this episode, we will try to conclude the Roman series as quickly as possible by conquering our, our maximum extent of the Roman Empire as quickly as possible. And historically speaking, the next conquest was pretty much Ptolemaic Egypt, followed by Mauritania Tingitana, followed by Britannia, and then followed by Raetia Noricum, then followed by Thracia, then followed by, of course, Dacia and Mesopotamia by Trajan himself, reaching the maximum extremities of our empire, and of course even Arabia Petraea. However, what I am going to do is I'm not going to go for that historical route where I take Egypt and Mauritania, Tingitania, then Britannia, and so forth. What I am going to do is I'm going to simultaneously attack Egypt and maybe perhaps Mauritania, Tingitania in one episode, and maybe in the next episode simultaneously attack Britannia as well as Raetia Noricum, and then in following episodes maybe attack Thracia, Moesia as well as Arabia Petraea, and conclude with Dacia as well as Mesopotamia, thereby concluding of course the series. And as you all know, we'll be playing the new series in the 1.33 Divided Impera patch, in which I will be playing as the Seleucid Empire. And if any one of you have some suggestions as to how I should be playing that campaign, some of you have mentioned that it will be an easy campaign, and I kind of agree with that fact. The main challenge will come in managing our satrapies and ensuring that we are not ganged up upon by our satrapies. But however, if we manage to keep our satrapies in line, then we don't really have much of a challenge as far as the Seleucid Empire is concerned, because they are just a crazy strong empire. This governor, I believe he is, so let's go ahead and actually give him some abilities. We have 0 empire maintenance, so clearly empire maintenance is not the priority, so let's actually focus on our taxation. And can we actually give him anything that will improve our taxation? I guess we can, so that's good. Apart from that, we don't have many other characters to level up, but we are going to try our level best to secure our character levels before we go ahead and end the turn, and I will see you all in the next turn. Alright, so here we are in the next turn, and some characters have leveled up, others have returned from their missions in an attempt to, of course, reduce our influence. Very quickly we are going to level up all of our characters that we can level up, while we can have some characters over here. Gotta keep scrolling up, I believe. We have another last spy remaining over here. Okay, give him some more abilities, get some cunning. Excellent. And now back to the situation over here. We are going to keep pushing, and we can push towards Sinop, and this is just the power of the Roman Empire, especially if you take a lot of campaign range movement. It is very easy to move from settlement to settlement, and we are peacefully going to occupy Sinop as well, which only leaves Amasis left for the Pontic region to be completely under control. Meanwhile, we're going to attack Ankara with this legion over here. It should be yet another easy auto-resolve, so let's go ahead quickly auto-resolve that one. Let's fully occupy the settlement once again, and have Octavius over here who can push all the way towards Tarsus, which is great. He can conquer that settlement with once again a very easy auto-resolve. Peacefully occupy that settlement as well, move Legio 5 Macedonica towards Iconium. Conquer Iconium also quite easy. We're gonna peacefully occupy once again, and we are gonna move Legio 8 Augusta. That's surprising. I thought he would be able to kind of cross into Salamis. However, he's not going to be able to do that, so instead what we're going to do is we're going to move him towards Antiochia, and we can use Legio 4 Scythica to instead attack Salamis. That's great. And peacefully occupy Salamis as well, get ourselves into the port Salamis, and have a very quick look at our taxation, because we have conquered some new regions, which means We are taxing unnecessary regions like Judea. Let's go ahead, turn off the tax over there. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So overall, nothing too bad. Go ahead, keep changing that as well as changing that to demolish that building. Okay, perfect. Meanwhile, Italia is undefended, has recently been conquered, so we don't have much of a garrison over there. However, I don't think, I don't think we have any issues with that. So we're gonna move classes 1 Roma Victrix towards Tyrus in an attempt to kind of force this army to engage us. And if they do engage us, should be a pretty easy naval battle. Meanwhile, alright, meanwhile we can use a Legio 15 Apollinaris to attack Adessa. We do have an army outside, and that's a pretty not so good auto-resolve, so I am going to more or less fight that one. Well, over here, these guys have started to take some attrition. I believe they have some disease going on for them. However, our fleet only has about 3 turns before they kind of have to break the siege. So what we are going to do is just push our attack. We have 2 legions, which means our auto-resolve should be decent. I am going to take quite a bit of casualties, but I really don't care. And it's been a long-awaited conquest of Kyrene. So let's go ahead, conquer Kyrene, and what we can do is we can move our fleet to the port of Italia to get some replenishment. Here, what exactly is going on? Is it because it is summer? However, it's not really showing it, so I am a bit confused, to be honest. So let us actually try to treat this army, if we can, back to Macamades. So he does not take any attrition. We can put him on that patrol stance. Meanwhile, this army can go into the port so that he replenishes as well. Perfect. I'm pretty happy with that for now. And also going to try to respect this province and make sure we turn off the taxation. Don't really need it over here. I don't want that. What I want is something that will improve third class population, so I'm happy with that build. It kind of also gives me first class population, so I don't really want that. What I could do is I could actually dismantle this building. The reason I had it was because I wanted to convert this province into Latin culture, which it is barely managing to do. However, that shouldn't be much of a problem in the next episode, because I will be conquering Ptolemaic Egypt. So as far as culture is concerned, I will not have any problems over there whatsoever. Very quick look at all of our characters. Some of them have leveled up, so let's quickly give them their abilities. On that for sure, and also kind of want, I believe the movement speed is what I go for. However, yes, I think we can go for the movement speed, and we're gonna do pretty much the same over here as far as army traditions are concerned. Finally, I think that's about it. So once again, I think I can go ahead and end the turn, but before I do that exactly, before I go ahead and actually do that, what I really want to do is kind of hire some of our political party members so that we can keep decreasing our influence. There we go. Our influence is sitting at 82, but it will drop eventually. We have a new character of the Council of Plebs, so let's go ahead and give some deeds. Prioritizing no longer on empire maintenance, of course, since we have kind of maxed out our empire maintenance. So we will prioritize on all other aspects of it. What we want to do is we want to deploy him over here as, of course, the lictor of Pessinus. So let's go ahead and rename him to the lictor of Pessinus. And straight off the bat, now Asia should be making quite a lot more money. As you can see, 85,000 and looking good. So let's go ahead and build that. Keep building that, and we also want to put up the commercial stimulation edict. Alright, with that I think I'm ready to go ahead and end the turn, but oops, I almost forgot. We were in the process of attacking Adessa, and it's not a very good auto-resolve, and I really want to keep pushing the offensive into, of course, you know, the Levant before the Nabateans can take over any of my settlements. So what I really need to do is I really need to fight this battle and get as little casualties as I possibly can, so that I can more or less continue my offensive without any setbacks. So without any further ado, let us hop into the battle or the siege for Adessa, and I will see you all in battle. Alright, welcome to the battle. We have Legio 15 Apollinaris taking on the garrison of Adessa, as well as a nearby Roman legionary that will reinforce the battle, as you can see over here in the far right back. Of course, we have our regular legionaries in the back over here, as you can see. Meanwhile, we have our ballistae ahead of them. And keeping in mind that this is an army equipped to deal with nomadic horse archers, we have you know, double strength archer units, so we have a lot of Syrian archers, and we also have horse archers, and these guys over here are the Syrian horse archers, so they are pretty good in melee, but their main purpose is to, of course, you know, engage in skirmisher activities. And as you can see, the cavalry of the garrison, both on the right and left flank, have decided to charge my unit, so I am going to try to kite them as best as I can. I might get caught up over here, and I do get caught up with one cavalry unit, therefore I decide to quickly react by charging with all of my cavalry to the fray. And meanwhile on the left flank, I'm sorry, the same thing has happened. However, speaking of the center, we have just thrown all of our pila and have set our front line to go into defensive formation. As you can see, our Gallic auxiliary are basically in that formation, and this is going to enable them to take a lot less casualties as well as preserve their stamina, which is going to be really good. Meanwhile, the Levy tier garrison of Adessa is not going to be able to hold their own against our own units, and as you can see, they are already losing decisively. Meanwhile, on the right flank, things are getting a little bit tense, and I have decided to use my ballistae to kind of support the right flank. As you can see, they've already begun to fire a couple of volleys into the cavalry over there. Meanwhile, I'm pulling my own cavalry as far as I can from the action, but in the midst of the battle and in the chaos, I kind of forget to pull this unit over here, which is why it manages to get rear charged by one of the enemy cavalry. And very much soon, you know, I will have to kind of support it with my other cavalry. The idea was to kind of kite as much as possible. However, a bit of mismanagement over there, and you know, I am forced to fight in a melee engagement, which isn't in my favor. However, we do have 2 spear units that are free, so quickly responding to that error by sending them to kind of charge to the backs of this cavalry. As you know, they are going to do some serious damage. Another thing that I didn't notice was that I actually kept firing my ballistae, so in a desperation, I have actually sent my general into the fray, into the fighting, to kind of stop this unit from routing. However, he arrives a bit too late, and unfortunately we're getting some friendly fire over here due to the ballistae, and I haven't really turned it off, and that was a bit of some serious micromanagement error. However, back to the center of the battle, as you can see, the second or reinforcing legion is making its way into the battle, so the priority is to kind of rout out the enemy's front line so that I can reform my front line to kind of face the new oncoming threat, and that is exactly what I'm going to do with my cavalry. And while my cavalry is positioning for that perfect rear charge, they are also firing arrows into the enemy, and that is also always helpful. Meanwhile, on the right flank, as you can see, their cavalry has completely been routed. However, a lot of friendly fire has taken place, including my general has lost quite a bit of units. And now my cavalry has charged into the rear of the enemy. As you can see, the entire front line is about to kind of retreat. This unit kind of turns around to face my cavalry, but my Syrian archer fire into the unshielded side, and these guys are going to take quite a lot of damage from that. As you can see, they are already wavering, so things are looking good. Meanwhile, the new legion has nearly made its way into the battle, so the idea is to move the cavalry out of the way and try as quickly as possible to reform our front line. As you can see, I'm starting to pull up units in a kind of, in an attempt to cause an inverted crescent and encircle the enemy. Meanwhile, my spearmen are going to form the far right flank of that crescent. Pretty much we're going to surround this legion that is quite depleted in terms of its strength. While my Syrian archers still doing quite a bit of damage, my ballistae have been redirected to fire at this enemy blob. My Syrian archers have performed quite well, racking about 100 kills on average per unit. And the idea over here is to kind of turn them to kind of shoot into the unshielded side. So that is kind of why I'm moving them to the right flank. And just seen orders issued for my legionary cohorts to kind of join the fighting, and they will encircle the enemy from the far left flank. However, right now we are going to wait for all of the enemy units to engage my front line. Once again, I have deployed in that defensive formation. As you can see, my front line has taken hardly any losses, about 10 to 20 units per regiment, so that's looking good. Meanwhile, this unit is getting peppered by a lot of javelins, but it doesn't do much to harm them, as they are, of course, very, very strong Roman legionary cohorts, auxiliary spearmen, and of course they are also in that defensive formation, which provides increased benefit or resilience to missile fire. So definitely a whole volley of javelins have only managed to cause 10 casualties. Meanwhile, my horse archers have decided to kind of pull back, since majority of the enemy has not yet engaged and they're not pinned down. And thankfully my legions are making a turn around, so they are going to kind of encircle the enemy and try to pin off these stragglers. While, as you can see, my archers still firing into the unshielded side of this unit over here. And some of the volleys are in fact still coming in from my horse archers, so definitely these units, even though they are very professional Roman cohorts themselves, they are out of their league over here, because they're surrounded, they're getting fired at from all sides, so they are eventually going to lose this engagement. However, over here, as you can see, some of my legionary cohorts have decided to kind of charge into the enemy, but I have decided to kind of encircle over here. So I'm sending a couple of these units to kind of deal with these units over here, while these two units will deal with the other enemy armies. Hopefully these guys don't get caught out in a melee. And as you can see, they're moving quite nicely across, but as long as the unit they're moving across is stationary, they will kind of be very slow. What you kind of want to do is move in opposite directions to allow for the easiest movements to happen. Now that these units have kind of formed up, we are going to continue our encirclement, but the enemy is already wavering and we're not going to be able to perform that charge, so I just charge anyways. Cause a lot of kills. As you can see, some units are getting absolutely shredded. Meanwhile, my horse archers have decided to join the fight and begin routing the entire enemy. And as you can see, my legionaries have already racked up quite a few kills despite being quite passive throughout the entire battle. Pretty much a shame, as I did try to get my first cohort into the fight, and of course they're going to get a couple of kills, not that many, but it would have been interesting to see them in full action. However, that being said and done, the battle has been done, and I will see you all in the campaign where we will take over the settlement of Adessa. Alright, with that we have a very decisive victory over the Roman faction at Adessa. The objective was going to try to wipe out this legion over here. However, the cavalry was too fast and could not give chase. Even their baggage train managed to survive that, but it's all good. We can just go ahead and simply occupy Adessa. Make sure to turn off that taxation over there, and We are just simply going to build up the province over there to make sure that it has the maximum amount of garrison units present. And of course we should be able to replenish as well within a turn, and then keep pushing down south towards Dura. That will be the objective of that army. Meanwhile over here we'll try to push into Thapsacus, as well as with Octavian himself will push down south towards Palmyra. And after Palmyra we only have Tyrus as well as Aelia Capitolina that is remaining for us to conquer and thereby end the civil war. However, there's nothing much else to do in this turn, so I'm going to go ahead, end the turn, and I will see you all in the next turn when I'm ready to continue my offensive into Mark Antony's Rome. Alright, welcome to the next turn. We have a rival banquet which we are going to attend. And all of the characters have returned from mission. The son has come of age, which is great, so we can get another legion up and running. However, let us quickly just level up our characters. Ones who have leveled up. We have a spy as well. We can level up, fantastic. Lastly, we have a Legio 4 Macedonica as well. And we can level up. Fantastic. And a Legio 10 Fretensis, we can all the way down south towards Sicilia. Try to improve the public situation over there. However, that being said and done, I think I'm now in a position I should actually be sending Legio 22 Valeria Victrix all the way towards Syracuse as well. So let's go ahead and do that. We can eventually move all the way around, and we want to get about 4 legions in this area, because in the next episode we will have to attack the Ptolemaic faction. And as you can see, they have slightly expanded into Phasania, so definitely want to stop them if we can afford to do so. However, very quickly going to see I can actually make these guys into a client state, and no, they will absolutely not accept it. So yes, we have a bit of a situation where Egypt will kind of push across, and they have a very good army composition. I mean, look at that. They have a lot of Clerici pikemen, and they have a lot of thorax swordsmen, some artillery as well, Galatian spearmen. These guys are quite good mercenary units. As far as their missiles are concerned, nothing too concerning over there. Decent amount of cavalry. I mean, just 3. I would have preferred a bit more than 3, but the quality of the cavalry is also nothing to scoff at. So yeah, I mean, could have quite an issue fighting the Ptolemaic faction, and as I can see, do have a lot of 41 stacks over here. Yet another good army with, of course, a Lithobolos, which is the equivalent of the Roman Ballistae. So yeah, things are not looking so secure down south over here. However, we're going to try our best to kind of prevent ourselves from getting into any trouble. Meanwhile, over here, we do want to build up that siege workshop so that we can replace our Scorpios with Ballistae of our own in order to combat or counter Ptolemaic faction. Meanwhile, over here, we're facing the same issue with Legio 21 Rapax deciding to sit in Tyrus and not sally out, which is giving us a bit of, a problem. However, what we are going to do is we're going to try to conquer the other regions such as Dura, and we can easily auto-resolve this one. And of course, want to peacefully occupy. It is of Roman culture, and once again want to maximize our defensive capabilities over here. And we also want to push into Palmyra as well if we can afford to do so. However, I don't think we will have the campaign range movement, and I might be wrong. Kind of do actually. Can push with multiple, so let us actually do that then. This army over here cannot really reach Antiochia, can reach Palmyra, cannot reach Thapsacus. So what we are going to do is we are going to push with Octavian himself, capture Thapsacus, and thereby secure the entire province of Syria. Should be an easy auto-resolve. With that, we have Syria completely under control. What we're going to do is we're going to move Legio 4 Scythica all the way towards Palmyra, should be an easy auto-resolve, but I don't really want to auto-resolve it just yet. I'm gonna reinforce Legio 4 Scitica with Legio 8 Augusta. Now our auto-resolve option should be a lot higher, 96%, doesn't get much better than that. We're gonna peacefully occupy Palmyra as well, and make sure we turn off the taxation. Meanwhile over here we want to get supply grain, as well as can even increase this. What we want to do is, okay, we want to build some more barracks, but I am also interested in building a siege workshop over there as well. Meanwhile over here I've dismantled our siege workshop since we don't really require it anymore. So that's pretty much that. You might be wondering why I'm not upgrading these settlements over here in Amorea as well as Tigrana Serta, and that is because they actually give a population boost to my first, second and third class population, and I kind of want to keep my Peregrini class, which is already suffering as you can tell. I want them to keep them kind of sustained so that I can get as many auxiliaries as I can from that province, and that is pretty much typically my strategy when it comes to building up my auxiliary rated provinces. So pretty much over here what we have something that improves the second class citizenry. All of them are pretty much the same, so we don't have much of an option over there. However, that being said and done, as you can see, the map of the Roman Republic under Octavian is looking even better. We have just about four regions left to conquer and wipe out Antony's faction once and for all, and that should be fairly easy to do since we can really attack Caesarea over here with Legio 5 Macedonica, the longest lasting legion in Roman history. We're going to peacefully occupy it over there, and once again are going to prioritize on of course building up our auxiliary capabilities in this province. And that means dismantling the main settlement building of Caesariana for the same reasons that I mentioned earlier. However, that being said and done, one thing I do want to check is if we do have our maximum level of master armorer as well as our blacksmith. Not entirely sure if we do have that. What about here? No, there's one over there. So I kind of guess we don't have iron anywhere else, so I kind of guess Caesarea has to be that province which actually gives me, maybe I could just do it over here because this would take 14 turns. However, if I do it all the way in Caesariana, or Caesarea, I keep calling it Caesariana, sorry. If we keep doing it over there, then what happens is it will take 14 turns for the final building to get there. And of course, we are not even counting, building up tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 buildings. So it's 14 turns for converting this versus 14 plus whatever amount of turns, which would take, in my opinion, double the time to do it in Caesarea. So we're just going to do it all the way in Evora instead. However, that being said and done, I think I am ready to kind of continue my conquest rather. See if we can conquer Amisus. By conquering Amisus, we have pretty much secured the entirety of Anatolia, so things are looking quite good for the Roman Republic, but not for long obviously. They are no longer going to be remaining as a republic. Of course, we'll build that up, and this guy gives a lot of... I want one that gives third class population, so yes, once again it has to be those kind of buildings. So definitely that. Focus on that third class population. So I guess all of my regular legionary recruiting provinces need to have that kind of building, and they kind of do in the older sections of our this thing. And what we want to do over here is actually build a siege workshop. So now from this province entirely we can get our baggage train as well as our siege equipment as well as our core legionary troops, and of course in all of the other provinces we can afford to get... We don't really need this anymore really, to be honest. We can in fact build another siege workshop over there, and in our auxiliary provinces we're just primarily focusing on buildings that kind of improve our foreign population class. So pretty much that's what it's going to be. as far as building is concerned. However, over here we can level up this province, and I really don't know what to build over here, because definitely want to focus on getting more foreign population class. So the easiest thing I can do is just open up the tab over here and have a look at what actually gives me foreign population class, and pretty much nothing among here gives me foreign population class. And I've kind of exhausted my building choices, really. So what about these buildings? Gives all other population classes. This one for sure will give me first and second class population. What about the siege workshop? Alright, so the siege workshop gives me pretty much no population penalty, so might be the best option to actually simply build a siege workshop over there, in case that of course you don't have any other options to build. Meanwhile over here, have converted into this is for that empire maintenance. Yes, and pretty much doing that everywhere by the looks of it. Ah, I see what's going on here, because this building over here gives Latin culture. This one also gives Latin culture, however this one doesn't. So we definitely want to make sure that all of our provinces, all of our auxiliary provinces are actually building up over there. Fantastic. And this way we can maintain our foreign population class even better. So yes, of course we have Numidia as well. Definitely want to build that over there. Meanwhile we have a bunch over here. Gonna build that over there. Right here we can build yet another siege workshop, or we can build something that will actually improve our third class population. Alright. So in Tigrana Serta as well, we want to build that in Antiochia, so let's actually go ahead and do that. And I think everything else seems to be fine. We have one here, Macedonica, so let's actually go ahead and do that. And right, perfect. So we have the right buildings over here. Meanwhile over here, what we want to do is want to get rid of this first class population building, that's for certain, and we are going to build that instead. This is giving first and second class population, so kind of want to change that as much as possible to third class population options instead, because I am running out of third class over here. Makes it a little bit tough to recruit ideal legions from there. And over here I'm kind of fine with this, to be honest. What we can do is actually go ahead and dismantle these buildings. Speaking of dismantling these buildings, I just kind of realized we do have a weapons master weaponsmith over there, so we don't really need to convert this. We don't really need to build it in Caesarea. So I'm sorry for showing that bit. I mean, of course it is going to cut into the episode time, but it's not really too big of a deal. And I guess it did give you guys some insight as to how I kind of spec my provinces and the reasoning behind why I spec it that way. And a lot of it has to do with the population class bonuses. So pretty much with that being said and done, I think I am done with this turn, and pretty much in the next turn all we are going to do is simply conquer Tyrus as well as Aelia Capitolina, and perhaps even initiate the war against the Ptolemies if we have enough time to do so, or maybe even wipe out the Nabateans before we declare war against the Ptolemies. So we kind of have a little bit of extra time, which we are going to take full advantage of, and with that we will conclude the episode. However, for now I am going to go ahead and end the turn, and I will see you all in the next turn. Okay, welcome to the next turn. The trade agreement has been dissolved, which kind of means the government have been wiped out. The political intrigue. Political elections. I'm trying to see one of the notifications I kind of prematurely closed. I think the rival banquet. Influence of the Senate. So yes, that is a very good option to take. As you can see, our influence is at 79 now. So definitely not going to be able to drop it low enough before, of course, things are finalized. However, we do have a little bit. Do we have a spy over here? We do, but he's really far off. Should have kept him ahead of the army. However, we didn't do that, so a little bit of suffering as far as, you know, understanding what is going on around us is concerned. However, let's quickly have a look at all of our provinces, as we do have quite a lot of time for this episode to go. So I guess I can show that, or start to show it from now on. So, go. Right, we can upgrade that building to get some better charge rate. Over here, what I want to do is I want to make sure this army is in the port, so it's kind of not affecting the supply. That's Legio 19. Okay. And over here, what I want to build, I mean, I do have everything I need from this province. So over here, what I can focus on is getting some more third-class population. And while over here, can I recruit any auxiliaries? I think I can. I just need one more skirmisher unit. And with that, I think I'm pretty fine. While generals have been leveling up, so let's actually prioritize our campaign range movement. So that's pretty much it. Right. These armies are busy building up, so let's actually move Legio 6 Ferrata in order to gain some of those, you know, core legionary troops. Meanwhile, this province is looking good. It's also looking good. That is also looking kind of good. Alright. Over here, I'm happy with things. Meanwhile, over here, what I am going to do is move towards Saguntum with Legio 4 Macedonica and ensure that I get my auxiliary cav. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, I believe. Yep. And we also want some supply, which we don't really have. So, yeah, that's not a concern because these guys can get that. So, just get the baggage train from here. Fantastic. And we also want a baggage train for this guy. Let's go ahead and give him a baggage train. So we're fine as far as baggage train is concerned, and have our 5 ballistae, which is what I was aiming for in order to provide the ballistae for these armies that are busy recruiting up over here. So pretty much with Legio 4 Macedonica, we're looking quite good as far as cavalry is concerned, and we also need a bunch of skirmishers. So let us actually go ahead and get the skirmishers, the Cantabrian light auxiliary troops. Excellent. And the reason being is because we're going to get most of our, if not all of our auxiliary troops from Macedonica itself. Quickly move our other legions that are all the way over here towards Sicilia. And we have Legio 22 Diotoriana over here. And what we actually need. So we have Assyrian troops. We need some Gallic spearmen and swordsmen. So we're definitely going to move them all the way up north. And to, of course, Sicilia in order to get those auxiliary troops. Okay, perfect. I think everything is fine as far as legions are concerned. I did change the edict over here so that would be more per turn. That is always helpful, and once we even convert to an empire, we really should be able to pump out a lot of armies because we get an additional +1 recruitment slot from being an empire. However, just a quick look to see if any of our characters can be leveled up. General of Legio 18 Gallica can be, so let's go ahead and give him campaign range movement, which is quite important. While we even upgrade Legio 8 Augusta and have quite a bit of the movement, as well as the morale, which is quite powerful. And over here I want to see which is my least leveled up general, because I kind of want to help by sending my champion to help with the military training, so that we can get a really good general as quickly as possible. While we have a lot of armies over here, and I need to be careful to put them up back into the port, and no longer need these armies over here, so What I am going to do is send a Legio for Scythica all the way back up to Tenace in order to protect the Bosphorian region, and in the turns ahead, since we just recently transferred a veteran, I am going to send Legio 15 Apollinaris as well up north into the Bosphorian region. And these two legions have kind of been spec'd into, you know, a counter to nomadic horse archer armies. As you can see, we have 8 archer units as opposed to the regular 4, as well as we have horse archer cavalry of our own. So that is going to be very critical, establishing our dominance. While over here we can upgrade these buildings. Quick look at all of our provinces, and if you just hit the period key or the comma button, you can cycle through your provinces. So that is a fairly nifty trick that I kind of learned recently, and guess you guys can use it yourself as well. Meanwhile, we had demolished all of these buildings, so let's go ahead, build up those barracks, as the 4th level of barracks gives +1 to our 3rd class population. Meanwhile, over here, dismantle the building that was giving, dismantle the temple that was giving us a bunch of debuffs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a workshop over here, dismantle this building so that I can build another building that will support my 3rd class population. So we can upgrade those buildings in Hellas, of course, focusing on our economy. Meanwhile, over here we want to focus on our auxiliary barracks, as well as, of course, you know, all of the buildings that improve the 4th class population, as well as the culture of the region. And I think with that, I'm pretty much done with all of that. And what's left to be seen is that we do have a character that came of age, so we can technically recruit him. We have a lot of characters actually that have come of age, I guess. This is Gens Cornelia. What is he doing? Do we have a region where we don't have a governor general going on something? No, we pretty much have governor generals everywhere, so what is that guy doing actually? Gens Cornelia. Okay, it looks like the Cornelia has kind of made a comeback to the game. So we have a 4th political party, and it has amazing traits, and I'm not too concerned about it because, of course, you know, this only means things get better for us, and I might as well just give him some abilities that would be helpful in the future. So in case one of our governor general dies, he will be pretty good governor general for, of course, the provinces of future, I guess. So let's just see if we can give any abilities to any of our generals. One guy over there. Can't really give anything over here. Can give the cultural conversion. The empire maintenance pretty good, but we don't really have any empire maintenance issues at the moment. So things are looking good. Will be 79. Still outright tyrant over the Senate, so yeah, not entirely happy with that. But what else we can do is we can also hire another character. So let's go ahead and do that. That character is going to be of the Senatus Romanus. And once again, we're going to give him some very good. So there we go. Perfect. And that. Alright, I'm pretty happy. Wow, okay, so we got some more stuff. So let's actually take a quick look. We got a pretty good, some pretty good modifiers over there. That one gives wealth from industry as well as all commerce and trade tariffs. So I really want to prioritize that as much as I can. This one over here gives wealth from all commerce as well as a 8% tax, and it's, in my opinion, even better. So definitely get that one if you see it. Meanwhile, do you have anything that gives public order? Okay, I think that one does. So if that kind of problem happens, you can always go here. And it's no longer there. Okay. Right. Okay, perfect. With that, I'm pretty happy with the politics for now. Of course, I can send our characters to organize games, but as you can see, I have been spamming that in an effort to reduce my influence. But just look at that cumulative cost. It is now 186,000 denarii, 428 as well. So, yeah, definitely spamming it across all of your characters is going to pinch your treasury. And one of the things can prioritize, however, that's a lot cheaper, is trying to marry off your characters. And straight off the bat, if you see something like this where you have 3 female characters versus 4 male characters, that means one of them can get married. Of course, we have 5 male characters over here, 4 female characters, so I do suggest quickly having a look at all of this. Meanwhile, this guy over here can give him something to improve his gravitas, I guess. And improve the gravitas still, because once he hits 20 gravitas, I can arrange for his marriage, which would kind of help a great deal. Meanwhile, as far as our new conquests are concerned, we are looking at conquering Tyrus as well as Aelia Capitolina. However, their army has moved towards Aelia Capitolina, so that kind of creates a little bit of complication. Here we can upgrade, and one of the armies was moved up north. Do have the ability to recruit Scorpio over here, so want to recruit the Ballistae, so definitely gonna wait for it to reach all the way towards Caucasus and get its Ballistae. Meanwhile, over here we can attack Tyrus. Not entirely sure. Maybe I can, with my fleet, get a line of sight of what's going on over there. Alright, I can't really see, which means the army must be somewhere outside the region of Aelia Capitolina. Or maybe even headed towards Palmyra. Not entirely sure. But for now, let's see if we can. Alright, we can't attack with Octavian himself, but what we can do is we can use Octavian to attack Tyrus. So that's what I am going to do. I'm going to really quickly auto-resolve it over here. Peacefully occupy the settlement and quickly spec up the provinces as well. And of course we have Legio 8 Augusta that we can attack Aelia Capitolina, and they might have an army close by, and they actually don't, which is rather surprising. So I'm guessing they're somewhere over here in the Nabatean region, or actually they're actually besieging Petra, so that's a little bit in our advantage, because that will buy us enough time to move Legio 5 Macedonica down to Palmyra and secure Palmyra. And maybe, just maybe, if we manage to conquer Aelia Capitolina, then you know, it might wipe out the faction, and you might actually see the end of the civil war right here, right now. So you know what? Let's actually go ahead and quickly do that. We're gonna peacefully occupy it, of course, and the civil war hasn't ended, which means for sure they are going to be you know, turning their attention towards us very soon. So yes, what I want to do over here is just focus on this building. Yes, I definitely want the supply chain, because Egypt can be a pain to deal with. Meanwhile, I want to have, let's say, we will build a library over there, or a scriptorium. However, with that, I am done with this turn. So I'm going to go ahead and end the turn. And once the civil war is kind of done, I guess it is kind of done, so we might as well just go ahead and what is our loyalty looking like? Oh, it's still pretty bad, so we want to completely wipe out the civil war faction. So yes, of course, we have Antonius's Roma over there. That should be the last remaining army. We might attack it in the coming turn, and if we do attack it, then what we want to do is we want to put Octavius himself into the port so that he can fight that final battle against the Roman faction. While
be welcome.
Thracians over here have kind of expanded. We do have very good relationships with Parthia, but they won't trade with us. That is rather unfortunate. Can also trade with the Tolisto Bogii.
Yes,
that's good.
your words.
We want to maximize our trade, and not with the Mamlukat and Nabateans. We are gonna cancel our treaties with them,
The bond between our
which kind of
peoples is
means
broken.
that
Do
can't
not
yet
look
declare
for
war
us.
on them. But what I might do is fast forward a few turns into the future to declare the war upon them in this turn itself. However, with that, I think I'm done with this turn, so I'm gonna go ahead, end the turn, and I will see you all in the future. Alright, it looks like the civil war has ended. Men yearn to be remembered to mark... Wow, I missed that. Only the strong achieve immortality. Is that about it? Is it just 2 lines and I missed the first line? Okay then. Might as well just hit that. And I guess it was during the end turn that the last remaining army of the Civil War faction kind of failed in their siege of Petra. And as such, we are now the sole masters over Rome. And so in the next turn, I will be transforming to an empire. Alright, welcome to the next turn. We are going to give out food ourselves. An honorable death of the leader of the Civil War faction. I'm not too concerned about that. Well, what we are going to do is we are going to just put our army a little bit outside, get a line of sight of what's going on over there. We could attack Nabatea straight away. That would give us a diplomatic penalty. And of course, we're going to move Octavian into Aelia Capitolina so that he is ready to launch his invasion of Egypt as soon as possible. While this army over here will have to also move down south. I mean, I could attack them. Should I take that diplomatic hit? Or should I just simply wait it out? Questions. But without any further ado, let us quickly look at all of the characters we can level up. If we can level up any of them. We really can't, so we're going to move all the way back to the west. And over here in the west, we're going to have a very quick look to see if we can build anything up. We are going to move Legio 6 Ferrata all the way over there into the port of Tarraco so that he can start recruiting up units. While everything over here seems to be fine. Right, and we did have a legion that was marching up the Italian peninsula in an effort to get some auxiliary troops. Okay, fantastic. Meanwhile, we have a Legio 22 Valeria Victrix moving all the way down to Sicily. So we're going to have 4 legions in Africa easily. And we're going to have a couple or 3 legions over here to take out Mauritania, Tingitana. And as such, in the next episode, so we'll have 4 legions to kind of hold Africa Proconsularis and to kind of try and push into Phasania, liberating the Garamantians. Then, of course, try to push into Libya as well. Meanwhile, from the east, from Judea, we're going to lead with Octavius himself and kind of conquer Egyptus proper. Meanwhile, we will also conquer Arabia Petraea and kind of liberate all the Arabian factions over here, since we don't want to own these regions. But we want the Arabians to kind of get their independence. And meanwhile, all the way down south, since Egypt has grown to a massive size, we are also going to liberate Devi, as well as, of course, the Kushites in... I'm sorry, not the Kushites, the Axums. The Kushites are the Middle, I guess. However, with that, I think things are looking pretty good. This Ptolemaic army is coming a bit too close for comfort. So what we really need in the regions are a bunch of spies. So let's actually move our spy to get some line of sight over here in Phasania. And this spy over here can kind of chill where he's chilling at. Meanwhile, we have another spy over here that we can closer towards Nabatea. And finally, we can even recruit another spy. And 10 line of sight, so definitely get this guy. With that, we have that spy as well. What we can do over here is I really want to build something, but I don't know what. I'm just gonna build a simple temple that will keep public order in check, so that's great. Meanwhile, this army over here can march all the way up north, back towards the Bosphorus region. And we can also move Legio 15 Apollinaris all the way to the Bosphorus region. He will be stationed in Panagoria. Legio 2 Augusta can also start pushing down south towards Tyrus, because we want to maximize as many legions as we can down south to deal with Egypt. Egypt is going to be no pushover, so definitely want to keep pushing down south as much as we can. So all right, perfect. Right, I'm pretty happy with that. And I think with that, we can go ahead and end the turn. But before we go ahead and do that, we're going to quickly hop into our politics. And we are going to initiate our government reform and convert into, at long last, the Roman Empire. And Galatia and Cappadocia actually has their taxation on. I just noticed that. So we definitely want to kind of turn that off. So let's quickly just build up these provinces. We are going to build up all of our provinces real quick. And after that, we are going to reform into the Roman Empire. Right. Okay, perfect. Build up. Build up. Get another slave trader over there. Making a good amount of income per turn, but not as much as I would like. Definitely like to have a lot more, but that should all resolve itself once we are in control of Egypt, because Egypt is another S tier province. So definitely having a control of Egypt is definitely going to make this a lot easier for us. Meanwhile, over here we want to build this guy, because this guy gives maximum third class population boost. Excellent, so all of our provinces are done. I mean, I could attack the Nabateans. Should I attack? Should I take that diplomatic penalty? Should I just wait it out just for a couple of turns? Let's see if I attack them. Yeah, I have 5 more turns and they have no allies, which is great. So I am going to go fast forward into the future when I have, you know, a lot more going on for me over there. And meanwhile, since I am here, don't have a supply pit ready over there. We might run out of supplies really fast over here in about 4 turns. So what I am going to do is I'm going to move my legions back to Tyrus. All of it, because I really don't want to jeopardize my supply over here. So yeah, that's definitely, that supply will really be needed in order to push deeper into Arabia Petraea. So definitely going to move all of that behind. Meanwhile, Aelia Capitolina is a bit undefended, so could run into problems if the Nabateans decide to attack first. But then, hey, that's only going to be to our benefit, because we will, you know, be able to attack them a lot sooner than 5 turns. So, if they attack us, it's their funerals. However, with that, let's go ahead and end the turn, and I will see you all in the future when I'm ready to take the fight to the Nabateans. Alright, welcome to the future. I have realized that we can actually attack Nabata right now. And I was actually playing this turn and basically respecking of my provinces in order to help out with some public order issues that I'm facing. So I'm trying to, you know, convert the cattle ranch, which gives +1 to your third class population boost, to rather a Horeum, because the Horeum gives a 0.7 increment as opposed to the +1, but it does not come with the squalor as well as the public order. So definitely getting rid of that or converting 2 of the cattle ranches would get rid of -12 public order. Meanwhile, I'm also converting all of my supply grains to instead a gladiator school, and the gladiator school, as opposed to supply complex, gives third class population and public order of +15 per turn. So that is really helpful for our public order situation. Meanwhile, the theater, I have basically chosen this because we can build a stadium which gives +6 public order per turn, as opposed to the valedudinarium, which doesn't really give all that much third class population, and it does give slightly less public order per turn. It does give sanitation, which kind of deals with squalor as well. So, you know what, I might actually just keep that, because sanitation is going to counter squalor. Hang on, rest. really no building happiness. Okay, so definitely don't want to keep building Stadia, I believe it's called, or the theater or the stadium. Yes, I want to stay with the valetudinarium. So let's just go and have a look at all of our legionary kind of provinces. I want to just basically cancel that command. Right, so that's it. And of course we have some here. Excellent. Right, yeah. Want to cancel this. We want to build that instead. Cancel that. Perfect. I think with that everything is done, and so we can just go ahead and attack the Nabateans. But before I go ahead and do that, what I am going to do, and I kind of forgot to do it in the previous turn when I ended the turn, is actually apply the Empire status. And now this will give -30 public order everywhere. So that could be huge problem considering our public order is suffering. However, we have converted it, and all of our political parties are very, very loyal. As you can see, we have +48 from Civil War bonuses that we have just won the Civil War. So now we are long last a finally Roman Empire under Octavius himself. And of course, we will be having some provinces that will revolt or rebel against us. And mainly we have Illyricum that might rebel, and Mediolanum. The rest I'm not too concerned about because we will be able to counteract it. As the turns progress, we will get reduction to our public order penalty due to the government reform. It's currently at -30, but it will drop by 3 points every turn. So in about 10 turns, we will get completely rid of the malice, which means we should even get rid of the -30 all the way over here in Cosentia. But what we can do to assist with the situation, actually put a bread and games edict over there. We already have the bread and games edict over here, and we have the bread and games edict over here as well. So nothing much to kind of stop the rebellions from happening in Cisalpina as well as Illyricum. However, what I could do is, if I absolutely need to, I could send some of our characters to conduct or organize games, but as you can see, it's still costing 157,000 denarii per turn, and or per click rather. That is actually a problem. One of the main things is we want to get rid of that -12 public order per turn in all of our provinces, -8 of course as well. If we are able to get rid of that, then we should actually deal with our public order situation quite well, and we might actually convert everything back into a cattle ranch. However, for now, let us focus on the war against the Nabateans. And I kind of forgot, because I am recording battles in hindsight rather than in real time right now. I kind of forgot that we are actually, ahead of time, or we have less time for the episode. But yes, a promise is a promise. We are going to attack the Nabateans. We don't have any more malices against them, so let's go ahead quickly attack them with Legio 5 Macedonica. The auto resolve is not going to be so good. However, if I'm Legio 13 Gemina as well, I will be able to attack them. And they do have a general over here, which I could attack that general with Octavius himself. And he might just retreat, so I'm not entirely sure how that will work, but he does retreat, and he will be pushed in closer to the Ptolemaic kingdom. So he does retreat, and I'm not going to give chase. I'm just going to move Octavius back and just auto-resolve it over here. Should be a 97%, which is really, really good. We are going to, of course, the settlement, because it is not Roman culture, it is in fact Greek culture. I believe we have wiped out the Nabateans. No, we haven't. But we do have a spy over here who can have a look at what's going on over there. Hopefully these Nabateans attack the Ptolemaic over here, and therefore we will be able to push into Hegra. I am going to go ahead and, although I doubt they will be very successful against them, so I thought I would wait to see if they would manage to conquer this settlement. But I don't think they will be able to. Ptolemies have 24 units over here, as well as Hegra itself. 24 units. That is actually a problem. One of the main things is we want to get rid of that -12 public order per turn in all of our provinces, -8 of course as well. If we are able to get rid of that, then we should actually deal with our public order situation quite well. And is pretty well defended. You have a lot of Greek spearmen, which are basically their hoplites, which means this army will not be able to do much over there. So what we are going to do is we're going to call it an end to the episode. And it has been quite an interesting episode in my opinion. We have finally formed the Roman Principate, and in the future episode we are going to fight the Ptolemaic Kingdom, which is a lot bigger than what it was historically at this point of time. It's basically just a rump state of its glory days. It was really a pushover, but they are not going to be a pushover in this series at least. They are going to be at least the second most difficult remaining faction. Of course, the first most difficult remaining is the Parthians, who have managed to actually circle around the Caspian Sea and even conquer Scythia. So in the future I might be helping the Scythians reclaim their homeland from the Parthians while claiming Mesopotamia for myself. However, with that, nothing much else to do in this turn, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the video, and thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you liked the video, then please like the video and don't forget to subscribe for more. Peace and love.